Hi everyone, this is Jeremy Pearson. Welcome to Practical Spirituality. I'm going to be reading to you something I wrote titled The Cactus, the Thorn, and the Prison We Build Around Pain. I was talking with someone recently who kept describing another person as unsafe. She couldn't stop focusing on how unsafe this person felt to her, how sharp they were, how uncomfortable they made her feel, how hard it was to forgive them for being the way they were. And suddenly this image came to my mind. A cactus. A cactus is not unsafe. A cactus is just a cactus. The problem is not that the cactus exists. The problem is when I try to sit on the cactus and then I blame the cactus for having thorns. A cactus is not failing at being a cactus. It's my relationship to the cactus that determines the experience. And that realization opened up something much deeper for me, because sometimes the pain we're experiencing is not coming from the cactus anymore. It's coming from the thorn that is still stuck inside us. The thorn is still there. Imagine you brushed up against a cactus and one of the thorns gets stuck in your side. Now, every time something touches near that area, it hurts. Eventually, you become extremely protective of that wound. You start organizing your life around protecting it. You become hypervigilant, defensive, reactive, avoidant. You stop trusting certain people. You stop entering certain situations. You stop allowing intimacy. You become emotionally guarded. And eventually, you forget the pain is not being caused by the cactus anymore. The pain is coming from the thorn still embedded inside you. This is one of the central teachings in The Untethered Soul, which is a book by Michael Singer. In this book, Michael talks about how we often spend enormous amounts of energy protecting old wounds instead of healing them. We build entire personalities around pain. Actually, we build entire personalities around protecting the pain. Michael Singer uses the metaphor of having a thorn lodged in your arm. Instead of removing it, we begin constructing our entire lives around making sure nothing touches it. We avoid people, conversations, we avoid vulnerability, we avoid risk, we avoid rejection, we avoid grief. We even avoid honesty. We create defense mechanisms, emotional armor, control strategies, people-pleasing, perfectionism, withdrawal, aggression, spiritual superiority, addiction, hyper-independence. Not because these are our true nature, but because they are protective systems built around the pain. Eventually, the protective system becomes so large, we no longer realize we're living inside a prison we created to guard an unhealed wound. The psyche begins orbiting the thorn. This is the tragic part. The thorn becomes the center of gravity. Our relationships begin revolving around not being triggered. Our identity revolves around avoiding discomfort. Our nervous system becomes organized around protection instead of openness. And then life starts feeling small, because freedom and protection are often moving in opposite directions. The more obsessed we become with never getting hurt again, the smaller our lives become. Triggers are not proof that someone else is wrong. Now, this is important. Sometimes people really are harmful. Sometimes boundaries are necessary. Sometimes leaving is healthy. But many times, what we call unsafe is actually something touch an unresolved wound inside of me. That doesn't mean the feeling isn't real. It means we need clarity about the source. Because if I still have a thorn in my side, even a gentle touch feels unbearable. And if I don't recognize that, I may spend my whole life blaming cactuses instead of healing the wound. Little side note here. I know that the plural for cactus is cacti, but I looked it up and it turns out you can say cactuses or cacti. Either one is appropriate. And I just kind of felt like it felt more natural for me to say cactuses. So I chose that word intentionally. So please don't send me a bunch of messages about how I used the wrong word. I did not. I think we may have just touched a thorn. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to go off on you. I'm just going to get back to reading here. Okay, so the goal is not to remove all cactuses from my life. This is where many people get stuck. They think healing means creating a world where nothing ever hurts them again. But that's impossible. There will always be cactuses. There will always be sharp people, insensitive people, unavailable people, and unpredictable people. Healing is not learning how to control the entire desert. Healing is learning how to remove the thorn. Once the thorn is gone, the nervous system begins to relax. The hypervigilance softens, and the world stops feeling constantly dangerous. You see, defense mechanisms are often guard dogs for old pain. Many defense mechanisms are not random at all. They are intelligent survival strategies created by pain. Sarcasm, shutting down, people-pleasing, emotional avoidance, perfectionism, anger, withdrawal, control, numbing, over-explaining, hyper-spiritualizing. Often underneath these behaviors is an old wound saying, please don't touch me again. And the deeper problem is that many people become more committed to protecting the wound than healing it. Practical spirituality is not about pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about becoming conscious enough to recognize what is happening right now. What is the actual source of suffering? What wound am I protecting? What would healing require? Because awareness changes everything. The moment we stop blaming the cactus for every experience of pain, we regain our power. Not power through control, power through consciousness. We need to have the courage to remove the thorn. Removing the thorn is uncomfortable. It means feeling grief we avoided, fear we suppressed, rejection we protected ourselves from, shame we buried, loss we've never processed. This is why people build entire emotional fortresses instead. But the fortress becomes exhausting. And we eventually realize the energy required to defend the wound is costing more than healing it would. The next time someone triggers you, pause and ask, is this pain caused by the cactus or by the thorn still living inside of me? And maybe even more importantly, how much of my life has been organized around protecting wounds instead of healing them? Because freedom does not come from controlling every cactus in the world. Freedom comes from finally having the courage to remove the thorn. So I hope that something in this has helped you or meant something to you. I hope this resonated for you. If it did, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a message. Share this with other people. You can like this. This is going to help the algorithm, help get the message out there. I also want you to know I'm going to make a second video to follow up with this that's about how to recognize the thorn and how to remove the thorn. So I'm not just going to leave you with this with no solution. So look for the following video. Also, I want you to know that if you're struggling with anything that came up while hearing this, I'm available for one-on-one coaching. And if you don't reach out to me, reach out to somebody. There's lots of wonderful people out there that can help you to explore this. If you want to get a message to me, there are a few different ways that you can do that. One is you can send me an email. My email address is info@jppracticalspirituality.com. That's info@jppracticalspirituality.com. Another great way to message me is to direct message me on Instagram. You can find my Instagram. It's Jeremy L. Pearson. That's JeremyLPierson. Also spread the word about my YouTube channel, which is Jeremy Pearson Practical Spirituality, probably where you're watching this, but I don't know, you could be watching this somewhere else too. I'm also on TikTok. So I look forward to hearing from you. And until next time, remember, light always wins. Take care of yourself and each other. Be well.